I took this small electric motor out of my cordless drill at home. In all-out effort, the best that you or I can hope to do is produce about as much power as this fist-sized device. You might not think that's very much, and if this were powering your car, you wouldn't get very far. But today, we're going to show you how on human-powered alone, you can break highway speed limits and sustain flight. The reason that we're doing this is because in the future, these kinds of engineering challenges are going to become more frequent as resources become scarce and as sustainability becomes more urgent.
What these projects have in common is that they demand creative and unconventional solutions. What we want to share with you today are a few key ingredients that we believe can help all of us achieve true innovation in whatever field. Before we start, first, since these vehicles may be completely different than anything you've ever seen before, we're going to start with a short video introduction. We got our start with the Snowbird human-powered ornithopter in 2006. Our goal on this project was simple. It was to achieve an ancient aeronautical dream. We wanted to fly like a bird under our own strength by flapping our wings. Now this dream, people have been dreaming about this for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But finally, we felt like we were in a position where this was actually possible. This brings us to our first key ingredient of innovation. In order to think and work outside the box, we need to understand what's inside the box. When we started on this project, we had a pretty good background. But again, we're talking about following dreams and changing the world. All too often, it's easy to lose our grounding. So before trying to achieve the impossible, we need to understand what we know and what we don't know. So what we did know was flapping wing flight. Both Cameron and I were graduate students in aeronautical engineering, and we were working in a lab that specialized in flapping wing flight. But what we didn't know, we had absolutely no idea how to actually build a human-powered aircraft. So we started this project with an epic road trip. We went to visit every single human-powered aircraft in the eastern United States. It took us all of about 4 days. There's really not too many human-powered aircraft. Anyway, we had done our background research, but there's nothing like seeing it for real. And it really hit me on this project that if you want to know something, you need to find the best people in the world, and you just need to go talk to them face to face.
In researching the state of the art in human-powered aircraft, we first turned to aviation visionary Paul MacCready. He had first mastered this problem with a Gossamer Albatross, a propeller-driven aircraft that crossed the English Channel in 1979. MacCready's key insight was to build an aircraft both incredibly light and incredibly large. This meant that it flew very slowly and thus could apply itself to the very small power that the human engine was capable of. When we built the Snowbird, it spanned 105 feet and weighed only 95 pounds. It was built more like a model aircraft than a regular aircraft. Everybody before McCready who hadn't used this approach had failed. The main structure was made from paper-thin carbon fiber tubes, an insulating foam, balsa wood, and plastic film. Any given part of the aircraft could be crushed between your fingers. With our transition to flapping wing flight, the wings have to make precise twisting motions such that throughout a flapping cycle, the net forces result in thrust. We focused on a simple and elegant approach. We designed the Snowbird such that when the pilot drives the wings down, the air twists the wing and the entire structure just so that the necessary amount of thrust is produced without any bulky metal components or hinges. This translates the mechanical complexity into the complexity of the engineering process. But fortunately, design time is not very heavy. The aircraft ends up being huge. It's awkward to handle. It needs to be assembled with a farm tractor, and it wants to blow away like a kite at the first hint of wind. That being said, it's a great excuse for you and 30 of your closest friends to hang out at 5 in the morning. In August of 2010, the Snowbird sustained flight for about 20 seconds, achieving our goal and a world first. Shortly thereafter, we were struck by another itch. In 1980, the American Helicopter Society had created the Sikorsky Prize, which called for a human-powered helicopter to reach 3 meters in height and sustain hover for 60 seconds. In 30 years of trying, nobody had come close. In undertaking this second great challenge, we thought maybe we could make a career of doing something that we loved to do, something that we were pretty good at, and something that could really open people's eyes and make an impact. We decided to jump in with both feet. I quit my day job, and we really had to go at it. In building on the learnings of others, we found that in the previous 30 years, only 3 helicopters had lifted off the ground at all. And even then, for only inches of elevation and seconds of duration. We knew that there was a drastic change required.
It was on this second project that we began to appreciate the second ingredient of innovation, which is to free yourself of unnecessary constraints. We want the experience and the knowledge that's inside the box, but what we don't want are the walls that constrain and narrow our vision. When we started on the helicopter, everyone that had come before had constrained themselves to fly within the confines of a gym. But we knew from the math that this helicopter was going to have to be absolutely massive. So we made the decision to build Atlas as big as necessary. And then we would just figure out later on where we could actually fly it. Turned out to be 160 feet across, bigger than most commercial aircraft, and twice as large as the next biggest human-powered helicopter.
In building Atlas double the size of anything that had come before, we were taking a huge risk, and we knew it would be flexible, ungainly, and ultimately unpredictable. With this newfound sense of scale, we had to take substantially different solutions everywhere, and it drove every part of the design process, from the string-braced truss structure to our rotor hubs, which were made using a kilometer of yarn each. This all looked a lot more like modern art than parts of a flying machine. We built the Atlas with our small team in just 4 short months in a barn. But since then, flight testing, or maybe we should say crash testing, has been extremely difficult. We've spent nearly every waking hour of the past 8 months making small steps forward, but sometimes taking big steps back.
This brings us to point number 3, which is that setbacks are often steps forward, and everything is recoverable. When you travel the road less traveled, you are taking on an inherent level of risk. But really, it's only a risk if we are afraid of making mistakes, or afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of being wrong or afraid of being hurt. Easier said than done, but kids are not afraid of these types of things, and that's why kids are so incredibly creative. But as we grow up, we socialize ourselves into fear, and I think it's time that we socialize ourselves out of this. For us, this socialization process has happened over the course of many repeated failures. On this project, we've seen a lot of heartbreak, and sometimes it's difficult to pick up the pieces and keep going, but we make a conscious decision to do so because we believe in what we're doing. Literally just 3 weeks ago, we were inches away from success, and we had a massive crash that destroyed much of the helicopter. Yeah. But it's part of the process. This is what we do. And the biggest lesson that we've learned on this is that everything is recoverable. It's never as bad as it looks. We almost have the aircraft fixed now, and next week we're gonna try this again.
Over the past few years, of all the vehicles we've worked on, the fastest are called speed bikes. These are recumbent, low-drag, aerodynamically faired bicycles capable of highway speeds. Every year, we get together at the World HumanPowered Speed Challenge in Battle Mountain, Nevada. This is where the fastest people on the planet come to showcase and demonstrate the latest in land vehicle aerodynamics, all while trying to get the biggest speeding ticket. One of the reasons we're so excited about these bikes is that they're the project we work on with the most potential for practical applications. Due to their capabilities and low power requirements, these technologies have the potential to supplement or alternatively displace cars. In direct comparison, the differences are astounding. If equipped with a small motor, our speed bikes would have an equivalent miles per gallon of nearly 1,600 versus just 27 for the average car. In addition, by weight, speed bikes weigh less than half of the occupant, whereas a car weighs 20 times the occupant. This shows that if we prioritize efficiency and aerodynamics, we can do much more with much less. The most exciting part of all this is that we haven't yet approached the limit of what's possible. This is a graph of the human-powered 1-hour distance record over the past century. The blue line below is for normal bicycles, and you can see that it's pretty well plateaued. But the green line is for speed bikes, and it's still going off like a rocket.
The reason this line is still going up is because there is a community of passionate people that are working together to drive this technology. Passion drives creativity. If you want to make the most of your creative potential, you have to be doing something that you love and something that you find meaningful, because it's that intrinsic motivation that really gets our subconscious going. For me personally, these projects combine aerospace engineering with a sort of form of visual art. And they combine sustainable solutions with health and fitness and athletic competition. And it's on these projects that I've found that life is really starting to click, and I found myself being more creative than I ever have before. The second part of this is to surround yourself with passionate people, because creativity happens when different types of people and different ways of thinking intersect.
Henry Ford has been attributed with saying, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." If we asked people today what they wanted, probably everybody would say more fuel-efficient cars. But there's a good chance that cars are not the ultimate solution at all. We're not saying that high-speed bicycles are the solution, but there's a high probability that the kind of innovation that we see here is going to be a big part of things to come. For our part, we're going to continue doing what we love and what we're best at, working with engineering students to incubate innovation and creative design in a hands-on learning environment.
We want to push the human-powered speed record and break 140 kilometers an hour with a bicycle. We want to use this technology to cross America coast to coast in under 4 days. And we want to take on one of the last remaining human-powered aircraft challenges by flying a marathon in under an hour. With these projects, we hope to promote the idea that there's always something better than the status quo, and we want to inspire people to search for it and to follow their passion in whatever field. This room is absolutely full of creative people, great thinkers, full of passion. Let's commit ourselves to taking a look at where we are and what we know, to eliminating the constraints that are holding us back, and to taking on the risks that are inherent in following what we love and taking an unconventional path. We may not have superpowers, but every one of us can make a difference if we use our human powers. Thank you.